This is Concepts, where two pretentious sirs quibble over ideas that explain today's world. Phil Shea and Steve Rose. My name is Phil Shea. I am writing for makeaskillcheck.com, and you can find more writing by me at hittingaject.com.
My name is Steve Rose, and you can find more about me at steverosephd.com, where I write about mental health and addiction.
Welcome to Pros and Concepts.
Welcome.
Today we are going to be talking about a probably overused term, but one that's popped up in books all over the place for the past, decade, and it's awesomeness.
Awesome, dude. Awesome.
Honestly, when I think, did you come across this book first or did I?
You did.
Yeah, probably true. I don't understand why.
Of course you would. You're the ambassador of awesome.
Frankly, the word awesome puts me off of it. Usually like the Book of Awesome or with Mark Manson, his books of like How Not to Give a Fuck, those kind of things kind of seem too gimmicky. I don't usually like them. I usually don't give them a shot.
Right.
But for some reason, this book on Being Awesome by Nick Riggle, it's a very, very short book, frankly. I think it's only like in audiobook form, it's like 5 hours. And like the average audiobook is like, 6 to 10. Mm-hmm. So it's shorter than the short end.
It's a gem. It's a real good book. Highly recommend it.
Yeah, it's almost like a code of ethics in a way. Like we keep talking about ethics these past couple episodes. Can you define the difference between ethics and morality?
They're kind of related. I guess ethics is something you do. Like you do ethics. There's like a process to it.
It's prescriptive.
Yeah. It's a philosophical form of reasoning about how one should conduct oneself in the world. And there's various schools of thought. Morality is more like a code that is already written and you can pick them up. You can say, I've learned this moral code from my faith community, and for example, or it's more of like a rule that exists.
Morals is what's right and wrong, and ethics is a process of how to be, right?
How to be, yeah.
So like you can have a ethical code that's related to a moral code, because the moral code would say these are right and wrong, and the ethical code would say this is the way to conduct yourself to conform to these moralities.
Yeah.
But in this case, it's not so much to do with morality. It's more just to do with like how to be, like on Being Awesome, how to be awesome, how not to suck.
Yeah.
This is the dichotomy that he has created.
That's exactly it. It's like a contemporary ethics. When you read Aristotle, it's like boring, kind of old-timey language. When you read this, it's using all of our contemporary language to create an ethic.
Yeah, and it breaks it down and it gives you actual actionable ways of looking at these things. I found it very useful.
Very useful.
The book itself is very engaging. It's entertainingly written. He has a bunch of funny examples, but we should probably start by talking about defining awesomeness, but it's difficult to define it until we talk a little bit more about some of his other concepts like social openings, right?
Right.
So basically, to be awesome is to create social openings to allow somebody to step up and be fully human with you in that moment. And a social opening, as he defines it, is generally like Goffman, we've talked about, I think before, he's talking about how we're kind of putting on performances and we're going through scripts of what is expected in any given social situation. We're kind of navigating that by what we know is expected of us, but we're kind of going through the motions from Riggle's definition that we're not really being fully human. We're more just being kind of automatons, like machines going through this procedure that is expected of us. And so...
Can I unpack Goffman a little bit? I think you glossed over if people are not familiar. I'll use the metaphor of the stage because it's very easy to think about this way. He basically says where there's a front stage and a backstage. Basically, the front stage is how we conduct ourselves in public. So that would be like front of house servers, for example. Like a waiter would come to your table and it'd be like they're on stage and they have a code of how to be. There's prescriptive rules called social norms in which the waiter would conduct themselves as being served. You would conduct yourself in a certain way. And we're all on this front stage playing out the act of this social script.
Right.
And he's saying we do this just, as you said, like automatons. We're just going through the motions, playing out our social scripts. You order your coffee. It's like, here's your coffee. Thank you. Have a good day. Take care.
You too. Bye.
There's really nothing new that happens, nothing interesting, nothing unique that happens there.
I think I'm kind of seeing 3 stages for this too. First, there's going to be the stage of like being really socially awkward and not even being able to perform those roles as prescripted. So like even that, then you might be a little bit awkward.
Right. If you're not a good actor or whatever, then yeah, you're struggling. What is the script?
I just mean we've both, like depending on the context, like professional settings, for instance, if you've never really been in those settings very much, when you first enter, you're going to be awkward.
You don't know the script.
You don't even know the script. Yeah, you can't even follow that. And so you're breaking protocol by accident.
Right.
Which can work, I suppose. And then there's the, I guess, middle stage, which is like just following the script. And then finally, there's the awesome stage, which is breaking the script on purpose.
Right.
In a socially adept way. That's one of the key pieces.
So if you don't know the script, first learn the script. If you do the script already automatically, then level up to awesomeness. And that's what we're talking about here today. That's how to break the script in a kind of creative fashion.
Yeah. The first stage is going to be racked with anxiety and awkwardness, I think. The second one's going to be probably filled with boredom for the most part.
Yeah. Once you feel bored, then you can be awesome.
Yeah. And the last one is connecting and having fun with people when instead of just being like, oh, it's going to be just like going through the motions. What do you do? How do you like that?
Yeah. Tell me about your job. As we said a few episodes back, never ask people about like, what do you do? Because it's just such a played out script.
Yeah. And you push back being like, oh, look at.
I still do. Some
people said they didn't notice me like snapping at you for that. And other ones said they felt bad for how I treated you.
That's hilarious because to me, it's just so normal the way you act.
Yeah, well, I act differently with you than I do with most people.
Oh, I don't know that. See, I don't see you with other people. I never show up to your parties.
It's actually true. He lives several hours away and has 3 children. So I think that's enough. So like social scripts are the things that we just described, the thing that you're kind of going through and you're going to be bored. If most of your life is going through social scripts, you might feel maybe in a cage of civility where you're not able to really connect with people and you might be trying to connect with people through these means, but it doesn't really work.
Right.
And that's kind of what the last episode we talked about, like causing emotional spikes or causing people to have unexpected reactions from you, like causing them to be broken out of those scripts. And so this is like, to get more to it, to be awesome is to create and take up social openings. Somebody makes a funny quip, you play off and again, throw it back to them. Or you're going through a random script and you realize you are, and so you are able to break out of it. We got a couple quotes here that he throws at the beginning of the book that I thought were relevant and good.
I'll allow you to read them.
Thank you for the permission, sir. A person only plays when they are a full person, and they're only a full person when they play. This is by Frederick Schiller.
Yeah, the spirit of play really is awesomeness.
Yeah, engaging with people, being fully human, being genuine. And then Katharine Hepburn, if you obey all the rules, you miss all the fun.
Ooh, love it.
So overall, the theme of this in the past 2 episodes on Making Friends is to be genuine and to be having as much fun as you can.
Genuine and playful.
Yeah, pro-socially, not at the expense of others.
Putting people down.
I mean, some people would find that fun, feel powerful, but it's inauthentic, I would say, in a number of ways.
Right. It is. Yeah, I see how.
So he also makes a distinction that sucking at life and being awesome are different traits. To suck, by this definition, has nothing to do with one's socioeconomic status or whether you're actually doing well with a particular skill. It's to do with the opening. So to be awesome is to create social openings and pick them up when they're offered to you, and to do it socially adeptly. And then to suck is to needlessly shoot them down or to not engage when you have the ability and you see it. You're just like, I'm too cool for this. He does break them down into a lot of terms that we would use in colloquial everyday language.
I want to just run through the list of terms he uses in his philosophical ethic of awesomeness. Just real quick, just run through them.
Yeah, to simply suck, to be whack, to be a non-starter, asshole, fake-ass person, douchebag, self-effacer, killjoy, bore, stick in the mud, half-asser, preference dictator, cheapskate, self-promoter, blowhard, braggart, and thunderstealer. Those are all the subsets of sucking. Awesomeness has a narrower group, which is to be down, to be chill, to be up, to be game, to be awesome. I guess he made that for some reason a subset in there, which is the subsets of those are to rock and to rule. And then he talks about crews and co-persons. Co-persons are when 2 people are being awesome. Because you're both stepping up and you're both meeting outside of the script, you're able to be fully a person with each other. You're able to actually connect to each other's humanity and to each other as people instead of as whatever role you're taking in the moment.
Yes, love. You're relating to the person and not just the role. He does define all of these terms, by the way, in great detail. I love how he puts actual philosophy into this, into all these concepts. But before we get into maybe the definitions of those, again, I want to say social opening is not just somebody that says, hi, how are you? It's not a greeting. Because the term social opening sounds like, oh, I know what that is. Somebody nods at me and then I nod at them back. That's not a social opening by his definition.
Right.
A social opening is breaking the script. So it's like you're at the coffee shop. He gives the example in the book. You order the coffee and say, and the person says $2, and you say, here you go, small price to pay for being human again. And then it's kind of breaking the normal, like, oh, here you go, here's your change moment. And then that's the social opening, is that you said this kind of witty thing. which I don't find it too hilarious, but whatever.
It's not. It's just that's what a social opening is. It's breaking the script. It's not necessarily starting an interaction.
Yeah, it's doing something unexpected, basically.
Yeah, like one of the ones that I remember reading online, they're like, if you want to know what it feels like to have some sort of charisma, just a little bit, and people are going to probably jump on this, but this is just an example. I read online and I tried it once and it did get a good reaction. It probably depends on who and when, but when you're paying with cash and you hand over the cash and they try to take it, hold it firm so that they think you're just going to lightly let it go and then they slip off and you're like, come on, take it. Like you could tease them about it, even though you did this.
It's hilarious.
That's one way of breaking the script because it's like they're expecting you just to be lightly handing the cash over and you're like holding it firmly.
Like, what's wrong? What are you doing?
Just take it. So I would say the basic summary of this, if you want to make it as clear as possible, it's the difference between sucking life out of something versus infusing life into it.
Ooh, yes.
So Steinbeck has a quote here. Again, this is the last I think that I have.
Ooh, Steinbeck, so pretentious.
Yeah, the great American author, so pretentious. It's strange how one person can walk into a room and infuse it with vitality and excitement, while there are others who can drain off energy and joy, who can suck pleasure dry and get no sustenance from it. Such people spread a grayness in the air about them. Mm-hmm. So this is a person that's awesome, infusing life into the environment versus sucking, like there's, no, I don't like that. No, it's not good enough, blah, blah, blah. Right, so I had a question for you. In fact,
what is your question?
Do you think economic success and prosperity correlate with either sucking or being awesome? Do you think there's any correlation there, strong or weak? I would say being affluent can make you less awesome because you buy into social scripts a little firmer, I think. I was actually going to argue the same thing. It's not necessarily, it's not one-to-one. You thought I'd take the opposite though. No, I was throwing it out there because like we would probably agree. We talk about a lot of things. So I guess what your answer would be, although I wasn't sure because you have a number of fairly affluent friends in your community. I'd say, yeah, if you are really succeeding in the system, then you're probably going to conform more to the system because it benefits you, right? Yes. You're not going to want to break scripts too much because the scripts are in your favor. They're working for you. Yeah. I do realize, I was thinking about this in reflection of the past 2 episodes, that social skills are an interesting area when you avoid using the trappings of normal status, because then you basically have to, in every interaction you meet with a new person, you're basically having to like show who you are and actually step up. You can't just phone it in. You have to be awesome. Yeah, consistently. Rather than just like, I am this very fancy position. Now I don't have to try. Alternatively, though, because they say that money or power or fame, any of those things, basically take whatever your character is and expand the cracks and the flaws to like a grander scale. So if you are a very generous person, you'll be more generous. If you're already a miserly person who resents people, then you're going to be more so from these things because they enable you to better express your personality. So I'd say there's the capacity to be more awesome. You throw an amazing party. Oh, you could. Yeah, you could. You could be way more awesome, but by default, I think most people are going to be less. Yeah, for whatever reason. I think I could speculate on a number of things, but that would take us down some rabbit holes. So I will demur. I don't think that's the right word, but I'm going to say it anyway. So here he's talking about for co-persons. I have something I wrote down from the book. It's mutual appreciative regard is what he was talking about. Like you're appreciating each other with regard, and it's both directions. It's not just one person entertaining and dancing and the other person just being like, yeah, entertain me, like our first episodes of the podcast. Oh, the whole beginning of the podcast was like me sitting here. Okay, go Phil, entertain me now. Dance, monkey. What are we talking about today? I had no idea what the concept was until you said it. Yeah, sometimes that we tried that model did not work out. So that model it made me very boring, didn't it? It made me not very awesome because I was so unprepared. Some people did say that you've stepped up quite a bit since the beginning. So that's good. I've put in minimal effort now rather than zero. Yeah, you put in the bare minimum. When was the last time you read this book, by the way? I read about half of it within the last few days. Okay. I didn't quite commit to finishing. Oh my God. Okay, this is the problem. We've teed this friggin'... I finished it before. I finished it last year, but then, yeah. We've teed it up like 3 times now, and I've read it each time. And so it's ironic that I've read it so many times, but I was zoning out because I'm like, I know everything he's talking about. And so it's such a good book. It was somewhat of a refresher, but then the last third of it, I barely heard because I was like, let's just get this over with. I know all this. Oh, yeah. And so I'm not, I would be better versed in the first couple of readings, but this time less so. Again, you are the ambassador of awesomeness. So this is your life. I mean, that's a lot of pressure. So here he expands on co-personhood, saying you can share a language, nationality, a religion, or a living space and still not have a co-personhood or community. Creative community builders create a sense of rapport and belonging in its community members. I found, like right now, my friend group is only tied together through us organizing stuff, largely me, but like one or two other people occasionally stepping up. And so we are not tied together by a workplace. We're not tied together by any particular endeavor. It's just by having this rapport and setting things up, being like, hey, who wants this thing? So that's, I guess, we're succeeding in that way.
Is that co-persons or crew? Is that kind of the definition there?
The crew part he mentions, but I don't remember exactly. I guess technically it would be a crew of co-persons.
Right.
Hold on, wait. So I got ChatGPT to like expand on these things. So for it defined crew as building and nurturing a group of community that supports and enhances experiences of its members. So yes, it's a crew of co-people, ideally.
Basically, awesomeness cannot happen in solitary.
And it can't be exclusionary either.
It can't be exclusionary or solitary. It has to be at least one other person connecting. Like the high five, for example, is like, you can't just high five yourself. That's not awesome. It's weird.
Yeah.
It actually could be awesome, the fact that it's breaking a script now that we talk about it. But you're not going to be sitting there alone by yourself, high-fiving yourself, and it actually come close to this definition. It has to be connecting with another person. So co-persons is part of the definition.
Yeah. And I think we were talking about yesterday how it's being awesome or being cool. These are both social phenomena, which are about being as genuinely yourself, enthusiastically, openly, genuinely yourself in a way that is socially inclusive, usually. I think in this, we do have a concept of being too cool, like James Dean cool, where you're like poo-pooing everything and you don't actually fully step up. That would fall under the half-assing category, because you're not fully engaging. That's not what we mean by that.
Because that's being too cool. Being too cool is not good. That's a negative thing. You're standoffish.
He defines the happy medium of it being chill. So like you're chill. You're not too cool. You're not cool about things. But what I was getting at was that we usually see people being cool. And he talks about, say, one particular jazz musician. It was a long time ago in the US where it was just post desegregation, I think. And the performer didn't like having to perform in a way for the white audiences that they demanded and expected. He wanted to be himself. He didn't want to be living up to their standards. Can't remember which musician it was, but he started wearing shades on stage so they couldn't read his face. That's why he was wearing them. It wasn't because he thought shades looked cool. It was because he wanted to obscure his reactions so they couldn't read into it what he didn't want them to see. So he was wearing them to genuinely express himself through the music and not through his facial expressions. That was the goal. But then the thing is, that is cool. That is being awesome because he is choosing to express himself genuinely and letting people to make of that what they may. But I would say people who then saw that and started wearing shades to mimic him, that is less cool. I mean, it's cool in the way that, like, if you are doing it because you see it as a self-expression of yourself, but if you're doing it out of mimicry of what you saw as cool and trying to adopt it yourself, then you're not being as genuine as you could be, and it doesn't conform to this.
Yeah, you can't be cool by trying to be cool, because by definition, it's uncool. Trying to be cool is sucky, because what you're doing is trying to seek validation from another person to bolster up your self-esteem. And by definition, that's sucking the energy out of the room, because you're taking the validation for yourself and saying, give me it. Look at me. Tell me I'm great.
Yeah, validation seeking. People are going to feel that and they're not going to like it.
Yeah, it's sucky.
You did have a question there to do with that. What does it mean to really be yourself? And what if yourself is dark and creepy?
What if I'm just dark and creepy, brooding, miserly person?
I don't think any well-adjusted, connected, and supported person will be like that. Mm-hmm. Usually these things come from some form of trauma, lowercase t, let's say. It could be like complex PTSD kind of stuff, but like just of not being enough, or of not trusting people enough, or of feeling like people are going to take advantage or laugh at you. I feel like that's where these things come from, insecurity. And insecurity is usually stopping you from being genuinely yourself, right?
Exactly. So if somebody thinks like, what if I'm just a really dark and brooding, miserly person? Well, deep down, you're probably not. As I've said in the past, I do think people are inherently good, and they are made not good through experiences, as you said, trauma, and kind of why good people do bad things. It's that they're wearing a mask of dark and broodingness in a way that's self-protective. So deep down underneath whatever negative trait we're talking about is someone who just wants to be happy, wants to be good, but doesn't quite know how, and is protecting themselves with all of this, whatever it may be. I asked you the question, but I came to the conclusion.
I mean, miserly just means cheap, and dark dark and brooding. I mean, you could still be those things. Maybe that is who you are. But a lot of the time, I feel like the appeal of that is that you feel nobody understands me. I'm too unique and good in this. And it's usually a way of like, we had Ross Ellenhorn come on, and he, in his book, How We Change,
that's great,
talked about how sometimes we can hold on to these things as like a monument to the bad things that happen to us, or as like an identity trait. Like, this is who I am because this thing happened to me, which, I mean, I would argue that that's not who we actually are. Cause like the randomness of life is not our choice. The things we choose to do and how we react to things, these are within our realm of who we are. But the things that happen to us, I mean, a monument to pain isn't something I want to dedicate my life to, though I can understand why people would not want to let go of that pain, because then it feels like you're letting the person or instance off the hook. But it's kind of holding you back. That said, I wanted to say, like, I know a bunch of people in like the metal community. I'm not a metalhead myself, but they have the dark and brooding aesthetic, but they're like some of the warmest, kindest people you'll meet.
Exactly.
So I think that's a distinction I'll make there. Like, if you're being like, you don't understand me, nobody understands me, that's holding people away so that they can't reject you. And really, oftentimes, that is an invitation for somebody to try to fully understand them. It's almost like a challenge.
Yeah. So we're not talking about just the aesthetics of like dark and brooding. We're talking about like personality traits that have developed reactively for self-protection because of insecurity underlying it. But yes, if you're into metal and things that generally considered darker aesthetic, that's different, I guess. You can be awesome, actually very awesome, and be into darker aesthetic.
Yeah. It's a strange connection for a lot of these things. People who are into metal tend to be into epic things. So they like the grandness of it. So there's often metal is tied to like fantasy, the swords and sorcery kind of stuff, as well as classical music, the grandeur of it, which is, before I knew anything about it, it was always a little bit surprising to me, but it does, like, nerdiness and metal seem to have a lot of overlap.
Yeah, it's interesting.
So here he gave, I'm going to add a little bit more to the coffee example, but first I am going to talk about his 4 steps of performing an awesome action. So you can perform an awesome action when, 1, we approach a situation where a social norm/script is firmly established. Something that it's not like you're walking in and you don't know what to expect. It's like it's so rote that you're not even thinking about it. 2, the spirit of awesomeness flows within us. So like you want to connect with people. You're in a mood where you can.
The spirit. Awesome.
That's what he put. So,
it sounds like church or something, like the spirit of God flows within you.
Sure. I mean, if that's how you want to see it, fine. God is pro-social.
So you feel inspired. So you feel you're not forcing it. You're not like, ooh, social script, let's hack it.
Yeah, you're not doing that.
You're kind of doing it because you feel good and you want to spread positive energy. Right?
Yeah, you're having a good day and you're like, this person wanted to talk to me. Like I had this the other day. I was at a coffee shop. I was just getting off of a shift, and the guy started chatting with me, and I was like a little in my head and a little didn't really want to talk to him because like everyone around could hear the conversation, and that in the past has stopped me from talking. But I was like, you know what, fuck it. I don't give a shit what these people think around me. If they judge me, whatever. And he's trying. So like, sure. And so I started talking back and we started chatting about video games and stuff. And ultimately I got a free coffee out of it because it was actually kind of funny. My cards won't do tap. And so I have to insert basically every time I buy anything. And he said that his machine didn't take it. And I'm like, I don't have cash either. He's like, just get me next time. I'm like, I don't live in this part of town. He's like, it's fine. You'll remember maybe eventually. Yeah, I just got to walk out. So that was kind of him. I mean, I don't know if that was what I got from this, and I don't like setting things up like, if you're kind to people, you'll get free stuff. I don't really like doing that kind of if-then.
Because it's ultimately sucky if you're doing it to get something, because by definition,
you're taking.
It's a taker mentality rather than a giving mentality, yeah.
Yeah. So finishing up these 3 steps, that was just something that happened 2 days ago. 3, we harness this. So the spirit of awesomeness flows within us was 2, and then
you feel inspired.
Yeah. So then 3 is we harness this and break out of or creatively riff on the social norm. So like being in a club basically and walking up to a woman and then kind of mockingly going through the standard script and like, hi, how are you? What do you do? Do you like it here? Do you come often? Just kind of like spitting out a bunch of things that people stereotypically say, but not meaning any of it. That would be a way of creatively riffing on it.
That's riffing. Yeah.
Yeah. And then 4, thereby create a social opening and invite the person to suck or not suck. You're basically kind of prompting them. Do you want to be awesome or do you want to suck? I think he does make exceptions for certain groups, like say the barista who's just like really worn down and doesn't want to engage. People in front-facing positions like that, I think it's unrealistic. It is sucky to expect them to take up the social openings, though they are usually more likely to do so because they're usually like socially warmed up and they're in the zone when they're working. But people have off days, so.
Yeah. So step 4 is what? Invite them to pick up the opening.
It wasn't really a step. It was just basically you created it. You created the opening.
Number 3, you gave the example of actually saying the social script in a light, playful manner. Mm-hmm. What are some other examples of breaking a social script that would qualify as step 3?
Pick a social script first. Don't make me do all the work.
Let's come up with a social script.
What do? People say a lot of time. And these days, because it's a complicated answer, I've got like 4 things on the go, and none of them are how I identify myself, nor do they say too much about me.
Okay. So I'm at a party, I meet you, I say, hey, so what do you do?
I'm an international man of mystery. That's basically the stupid answer I give, and people usually laugh about it.
No way.
Yeah.
No. Really. What do you do?
Yeah.
So is my response awesome or sucky?
No, that's sucky because you're trying to force me back into the script. You're trying to keep the script going because it benefits you. Maybe because it's like you're hoping to see if I can benefit you in some way. It may benefit you because you have a good answer for that. You want to be like, I am this important title.
Right.
Or you're trying to figure out what I do because you want to know, like you're trying to network in a kind of go-getter kind of way.
Yeah. So my reply, you broke the social script. I didn't pick it up.
Yeah.
So let's try it again. We're improving here. And by the way, improv really is the essence of awesomeness.
Within reason, because I'll get to that in the coffee example. I had alternatives where he shows where it won't work, it'll backfire, and the reasons he gives for why those are. Because like some people who are constantly improving, you feel like you're not really talking to them. You're just having them riff off of what you're doing.
Right.
Or it feels a little bit too familiar. It's just off kilter for the situation.
Right. So it's kind of the flavor of improv, but it's still kind of more authentic to you.
Yeah. So you wanted to riff off that. So I say, okay, I'm an international man of mystery.
Ooh, James Bond, tell me about your last mission.
Well, I would, but then I'd have to kill you. Like that's just stupid. You can just demur in ways like that. It feels forced that like we're doing that little role play there. So I'm just gonna let that drop since
yes, it doesn't feel natural. Therefore, it is not awesome, and we let it go.
Yeah, just like go back to the vibing that we had instead of being like, okay, now go. Yeah. It's not an improv class. We're not doing an improv exercise.
It was fun while it lasted.
Sure. I felt put on the spot. Awesome people are skillful co-person creators, skilled at the awesome art of crew building, of inspiring community, and mutual positive regard. They are the overlords of interpersonal appreciation, not necessarily moral saints or masters of virtue, but they're the lifeblood of the co-person community. That's the definition that he gave of awesome people. The corniest thing in the book, as he introduces it, awesome is a we that is so me.
Oh, gee.
It's so bad. It's so corny. So I keep alluding to, and let's get to it now. Back to the coffee example. He gives examples of how it can go awry. So like that joke that he gave, like Steve mentioned, of a small price to pay for becoming human again. Like it's a little corny, but it's not that bad, and allows a person to like laugh or riff off of it maybe. So an alternative he suggests is you burp and smile. You don't say anything, you just belch and smile. And so he's saying that this probably won't, he's just giving an example of how you are breaking the script, right? But not every way of breaking the script is acceptable or desirable.
Right.
So in this case, he says you're presenting yourself in a distasteful way to most people. Maybe if they're the same kind of weird, they might take you up on that social opening and belch back or compliment you.
I think that would follow.
Like I would try if I was working.
You would like that.
If I was working, I'd try to riff off and be like, bravo, that was a good one. Or like, oof, I've heard better. Like I might try to make them feel more comfortable, but
you would like that.
It depends on the person.
By most people, this definition, that would be considered whack.
Yeah.
That's one of the categories in the book of this. It's like you're breaking the script so much. It's almost like you have zero regard for the script that you would be considered whack, as he calls it.
Yeah. Similarly, making an offensive joke. He says this eliminates mutual appreciative regard because you're excluding people, you're being judgmental. He basically says that like if you are like a hate group, for example, you cannot be awesome because you're exclusionary with that and often giving up personal identity to these tropes, I guess. And then the final one I think is the more likely. I think those two are pretty obvious. The last one I thought was something that I actually took a note for if I was going to do a Making Friends Part 3 was on being overly familiar. So you are showing friendliness, yes, but in a presumptive, diluted, or possibly needy way where like you act like you know them too much. And so it gives the impression that you won't be receptive in who they are, or maybe you're not really there. You're just kind of dumping your own emotions onto somebody socially, which will drive people away.
Yeah, that there's going to be some boundary issues.
Yeah, which makes them think that like maybe you're not somebody they can trust. or you're not socially all there. Like I've had people randomly start acting way too familiar. And I do find I'm usually a little bit wary at first, being like, okay, is this a socially adept person that's just very comfortable? Or is this one of those people that you have to watch out because they're going to like latch on and tell you all their problems and just suck all the oxygen out of the room?
Mm-hmm. Is there a word for that?
In the book?
Does he have a concept?
Not really. I mean, it's whack, which is by his definition, behaving in a way that is out of touch or bizarre in a negative sense. Mm-hmm. But I would say that like most rules in any area, like writing or whatever, you need to be aware of the norm before you break it. If you want to break it well.
Yes.
You have to know why you're breaking it and how, and that takes a little bit of study. You did mention the high five. I just wanted to point out to that was in 1977.
The high five was invented in 1977.
Yeah, it wasn't a thing before that. And it was a baseball player named Glenn Burke, the first gay Major League Baseball player, and Dusty Baker is the one that had hit his 30th home run, and they were celebrating when I don't remember which one. One of them was rounding the bases and just lifted up their hand, and the other one just was like, I don't know, and just kind of like slapped it and
gave him a high five. And thus the high five was born. That was surprising to learn, that the high five was invented as recently as 1977 in a Dodgers game.
Yeah, and they try to make it like a branded Dodgers thing. The Dodgers high five salute is what they call it.
So strange.
So there are other examples of people being awesome, like the mayor of Bogota. His name was Antonis Macus. He was a math and philosophy professor turned mayor who decided to dress up as super citizen and dressed up with a large C on his chest and would walk around picking up litter. He also handed out hundreds of thumbs up and thumbs down cards to drivers so they could flash them at people because he believed that social forces were more powerful than monetary or law criminal forces. So having the police go around and find people for driving badly was less effective than having other people flash a thumbs down constantly to the person, apparently.
Right. That would be hilarious.
He also, apparently the traffic police in that city were notoriously corrupt. So he, this is again going further into that, he hired a team of mimes to mock people into being better citizens. So like if they littered or jaywalked or flouted traffic rules, the mimes would go and like mock them and walk around them and draw attention to it. And they'd praise people who did the right thing.
Oh, that'd be hilarious.
So I thought those were pretty funny ways of expressing themselves, walking around with a large C. One guy dressed up after a loved one died and he realized the fleetingness of life, memento mori style. He made his own very thorough custom Superman costume and would just walk around the city dressed as Superman, go to clubs as Superman, and apparently like everyone, he was just like a local phenomenon. I don't know that I necessarily want to be one of those people, but
right. Still awesome.
Nick Riggle, the author, talks about how at first you wanted to go from like the stages, I guess we see, as we just mentioned, were like not being aware of social norms, then conforming to social norms, then awesomely breaking social norms. And then he proposes the next step would be awesomely engaging in civics, improving your city and doing things that improve your overall community.
You got a pretty awesome project in mind. We've talked about many times on here, the land project.
That's what I usually refer to it as. Yeah, like basically making cooperative.
It's pretty awesome.
Where you can give people the time and space and lower the cost of living enough through collective purchasing and synergies to allow people to work on projects they want to work on. I guess for me, the requirements of people being there would be weekly meetings with a counselor who's trained in motivational interviewing. So that gets them to be motivated to do the things they want to work on. People that are, if you go back to the Big Five episode, people who are high in industriousness, they're going to just work on stuff regardless. People who are fairly high on openness, so they're going to be wanting to try and experiment with things. Relatively, I mean, conscientiousness, I guess, is up there, but like medium high on agreeableness, so that they will be tactful, but still let their concerns be known. These are the ideal people that I would want to bring onto the project. But he talks in the book of something that I thought would be kind of fun too, which is I think called the Awesome Project, where they basically are a charity that generates $1,000 micro grants to people who have projects they can propose, and they'll do something to make their city or community better. So like $1,000 at a time, they're just giving drops to people who have a proposal that they think, hey, that'd be fun. That'd be cool. Sure. Why not? Let's do that. And donate the $1,000 to those groups. Something like things like that, I think would be fun to do.
Nice. Yeah. This is awesomeness taken to the community level, to like the social change level, rather than it just being like a coffee shop interaction. It's creating awesome communities. And when you look at our episode on like walkable cities, what was it? Like the 15-minute city or third
places, I think.
Third places. Yeah, we talked about third places.
But we've mentioned walkable cities a number of times.
Yeah, all of these are ingredients for awesomeness. And if you look at the third place episode, you can see how having spaces where we can connect spontaneously around shared interests that's not exclusionary. These are all the ingredients that can create awesome communities rather than just places we commute through so that we can fulfill our social norms.
Yeah, exactly. So now I'm on to the category of sucking. We're like a little over halfway through the notes. So he talks about how like some people don't like the term because they think it's something to do with fellatio.
Right.
But it's actually apparently to do with sucking an egg, sucking a lemon, or something sucks hind teat.
Like a cow?
I guess. Sure. Yeah. For him, he says sucking is being able, noticing, and then still refusing to take up social openings. To suck is to crush openings and mock them for no good reason. Often the reason is to like empower yourself or be too cool. You feel like you would join in and it would be maybe exposing yourself too much, perhaps. So he distinguishes it from being bad at something. I suck at something versus that guy sucks.
Right. Meaning you're not good at something, but it doesn't mean you're a sucky person is what he's saying.
Right. And back to the thing about like servers and stuff, he mentions shutting things down sucks, but some jobs are too draining to continuously take up openings. So in that case, that's where politeness and etiquette comes in. You're just sucking would be like, no, go away, fuck off. Whereas being just polite is a little bit sucky, but reasonable. He argues that like introverts have good reasons for not stepping up because they're too drained by it. So it's fine if that's all you can do in the moment, as long as you're not being like openly and aggressively shitty about it.
Just be polite. Say, haha, nice. You just kind of like chuckle at someone's comment.
Yeah. So here's the distinction. You know, somebody really likes a particular dish and you try to make it for them, which is awesome, but you don't make it well. It doesn't really turn out. You sucked at that act, but you were being awesome while you sucked at it. So like your skill was low, but you were still being an awesome person as a result.
Yes. That's so good.
He also gives a 4 steps. So that was a 4 steps earlier. We talked about being awesome. Do you want to know the 4 steps of sucking?
Ooh, let's do it.
So first, encounter a social opening. Something happens that is notable and worthy of comment in the presence of others. Not recognizing it at all would suck a little bit. So then number 2 is you recognize it and then you don't, yet you still don't act on it at all. So sometimes not recognizing it may appear to suck, but you didn't suck because you didn't actually acknowledge it. You weren't aware of it happening, but you can appear to suck in that moment.
You weren't aware. Yeah.
3 is you could accept the opening. So like you have the energy, you have the wherewithal, you've noticed it, it's there, and you choose not to. And then finally, number 4, I don't know why the 4th step usually can be cut off. The 4th is, but you don't. That's the 4th. So 1, encounters. 2, recognize. 3, you could accept it. And then 4, you don't. But
you don't.
Yeah, but you don't. Ignore an opening for no reason.
It's almost like when someone's doing improv with you and the other person shuts down the premise.
Yeah, it is like that.
Yeah, like this international man of mystery over here.
Yeah.
I'm not a man of mystery.
No, you're not. What do you really do? Yeah.
Imagine that. You said, I'm an international man of mystery. And the person says, no, you're not.
I don't know how I'd attract. Because like I had occasionally you'll come across people that do that. And you're just like, God damn, like just like react a little bit better. Like for that one,
that's not what you do.
That one is one thing. Another one was like somebody had a really novel name, a really uncommon name. And I saw them message in this group event chat and I mentioned it to them. And I said, oh, you're the one that said you were going to be late, right? And they're like, I didn't say that. Oh, well, then it must have been somebody else. She's like, yeah, there's probably another one with that name. I'm like, no, there's no fucking way. Like, no, you were the only one with that name. Why do you have to be so fact-based? Like play along a little bit. Oh, no, that wasn't me, but yeah, I was in that chat. Like, I don't know anything. That was the first time I was talking to them at all. And it was a friend group where I was meeting them through friends and they were still kind of like standoffish and like aloof, which that usually baffles me a bit, where it's like, I'm not just a total stranger walking up in a club or on the street or something. I am meeting you at an event where we are friends with most of the people there. We have a lot of mutual friends in common and they still don't put in any effort whatsoever. And you're like, why are you doing this? You're torturing both of us.
Yes. It's a way to be sucky.
So here's a way that is not super apparent why it's sucking. It's about a teacher in I think it was an elementary or middle school. He rode around in a unicycle. He describes it in the book as being sort of awesome in a slightly sucky way because he rode it around in the morning in the hallways in a vaguely inviting but somewhat alienating way. He created a social opening by doing this. Although his method was well-intentioned, it was out of touch because I guess the author kind of sees it as like highlighting awkwardness because it's not exactly, it's kind of an awkward vehicle, a unicycle. And
it's just a bit whack.
Yeah. And preteens are already kind of awkward enough. So he felt like maybe it was emphasizing awkwardness. I think that was a bit of a reach, but he said it basically, it was out of touch, came off as a little bit self-absorbed. And the professor would say stuff like, people don't suck, only vacuums suck. So it's like a teacher trying to be hip, but like not quite hitting the mark.
Yeah.
So I guess there is the potential to be awesome in like playing off of that and encouraging them. But it's also equally reasonable to be like, I'm uncomfortable with this.
It's hard to take up. It's breaking a social script that's very hard to take up.
Yeah, for sure. I don't know why I'm thinking about this, but like last Halloween, my friend and I were on Church Street in Toronto, which is like the gay street, basically. They shut down the entire street and it was like a huge party happening there. It was great. And this guy was riding around with a wheelbarrow attached, like one of those bikes with like a kind of long wheelbarrow in the front. And he had speakers set up in it and he was trying to make impromptu dance parties happen. So he set it up one time and I noticed it after there was a huge ring of people standing around it, watching. Not engaging, just watching. And my dance skills are not great, so I didn't really want to jump in there. There's maybe 2 people dancing, but they just danced and everyone just watched and filmed. And it's just like, God, we are really a spectator society. So then he got fed up with that and eventually rode down like 100 meters down the road to like disperse the crowd. And he tried again. This time though, I noticed what he did wrong the last time, which was he didn't engage the audience at all. So I brought my friend and was like, okay, we're going to do this. So we started dancing. And then as people were starting to, again, create a circle and start to watch us, I would then grab people by the elbow and shake their arm a little bit gently and then be like, come on, dance. And then some people would join in. And once some people joined in, other people joined in and it started to spiral and take off. Unfortunately, he was playing off of non-premium Spotify. And so ads played and broke it up. But we almost did it.
He's being awesome, but that was...
it was pretty awesome, yeah.
But that's the definition of awesomeness, though, because there was a spectator script happening and you broke out of it by participating and then pulling people in.
And making a bigger party. Yeah, I was playing off of that guy. Like that guy's initiative.
Because he was being awesome on his own, which is by definition, it can't happen. You kind of became the first co-person, which then led to other co-persons.
Yeah, something like that, yeah. I do have a paragraph here on what the book says about racists and how they are creating social openings by using a racist joke. So the first tells a joke, the other one high fives. And he's like, they're breaking the social script, right? And he's like, there's no such thing as KKK awesomeness. Baseless hatred and bigotry are not parts of individuality that are worthy of appreciation. Awesomeness is rich and inclusive. Racists cannot create co-people under the banner of their bigotry. They think they are, but they aren't. Same as creating community through exclusion. Bullies picking on people they think are inferior.
Right.
I mean, you could argue that, I guess, but why would you?
Exclusion is not awesome.
Yeah.
Like, look at North Korea. I mean, nobody would look at that and say, awesome.
No, like exclusive clubs I find to be really whack. We're using whack here, by the way, to avoid using the word lame, because lame is, I mean, it's got ableist undertones. You could argue it's lost that, but it basically says, like, if you can't walk, you're not cool, which,
right.
Nah, not great.
You're not trying hard, yeah.
But whack, I mean, I'm already one of the oldest people hanging out in my friend group, so I feel it makes me even older, but like you kind of just lean into it. Something like, well, that's whack, bro.
But like very exclusive, pretentious clubs are kind of not awesome.
No, they're the opposite of awesome. They usually talk about how exclusive and great they are. You don't know the reference, but like Tahani from The Good Place, she talks about going to an exclusive party where every step there was another more exclusive place to be in. And she kept doing it until eventually she found herself in an empty room by herself at a party.
Most exclusive place is an empty room.
Yeah.
The most awesome bar / club that I can recall is actually one of the most lowbrow, inexpensive places. It's that place we used to go to in Waterloo.
Oh, Phil's?
Phil's grandson's place is the name of it.
Oh, yeah. Filthy Phil's.
Yeah, and it's like, it's got like stalactites growing from the ceiling. It's like...
Oh, yeah, don't look up if you go there. And the floor is always sticky.
Yeah, don't look up. You get a little dust on your shoulder.
Drinks are like $2.50. Yeah, I love dive bars and hostels for that reason, because it's so
good.
It's usually the spirit of adventure. It's the spirit of openness, and just like anybody that wants to come that's going to be within a certain standard, of course, can join. The standard being like not being a piece of shit. It's like it's not a high bar. Being awkward or introverted is fine, just as long as you're willing to be part of the party and join in and have some fun. So we should probably start actually assessing some of the different ways of sucking, okay? Because they are interesting in my way.
Okay, it's very serious business right here.
I find them interesting. So being sucky is just opting out of social openings. We've already addressed that enough. Simply sucky is just being uncool or unappealing behavior that doesn't meet social norms, like spitting on the ground in somebody's house, for example, would be simply sucky. If you're doing it deliberately in a mean and hurtful way, then you'd be an asshole. That's a different category he talks about. Being whack, as we mentioned, is behaving in a way that is out of touch and bizarre in a negative sense. But I think like those are obvious. Like being a fake ass person, that obviously you're pretending to be too cool. Or a douchebag, displaying obnoxious or contemptible behavior. I'm not seeing a huge distinction between that and being an asshole. But then there's some that are like non-starters. Behaviors that inhibit social interactions from even beginning. Like for me, joining that group, if every single person was like, no, I'm not dancing. Because a number of people people were like that, or I didn't join in at all, then that would be non-starters. Everyone around was non-starters. They're kind of being sucky in that way because they're not joining in the party this guy's clearly trying to create for us. Or self-effacers, diminishing one's own value or presence excessively. So just being like, because it kind of feels like fishing for compliments. Have you ever had somebody that is constantly like, I'm not very good. I'm lucky to even be here. I don't have any friends. You're kind of just like, oh God. You feel like you have to keep propping them up.
Yeah.
So they're sucking life out of the situation. They're not infusing it into.
I'm too old to go to your party. I'm 40.
I've had people say that, yeah. And it's just like, so what?
Yes, that's why I said it.
Yeah. I mean, I forgot.
They were looking for a compliment, perhaps.
Oh, I mean, there was this one girl who I was joking with her, and she said that she was older than me because I said that I was older and doing more fun things. And she's like, I'm 40. And I just was like, yeah, I can see that. She's like 27. Like, there's no way she's 40. And
clearly didn't look 40 at all.
Yeah.
You were just going with it because it sounded like, okay, this is looking for a compliment.
Which then like spiked emotions a little bit because I think most people are like, what? Really? No. And I'm like, yeah, definitely. You look exactly 40. Not a day over 40, let's say, but 40 exactly. So a killjoy is somebody that ruins or lessens the enjoyment of others in the social setting. So this is where like the racists or bullies come in. They're ruining the fun. Or I've been a bunch of these things over time and in different instances. Like a killjoy, I've done that by accidentally bringing up a heavy topic.
Edgelord?
Not intentionally. It was more like, I remember there was like a Never Have I Ever, and it was a large room of people, and I thought it'd be funny, but then I realized after the fact that I had no way of bringing the mood back up. So I killed the mood by being like, never have I ever been afraid of dying alone. So many people drank to that. And the mood just like, bam. This is back in like my early 20s.
Everyone just drank and then got depressed immediately.
Yeah. And I'm like, oh, and I realized I didn't have any tool to bring it back up. So hopefully like somebody else I think did it.
Oh, it reminds me of a time at the party. You know that song that all the other kids with the pumped up kicks better.
Oh yeah. What did you point out that it was about school shootings?
Everyone's around a bonfire, like cheery and just singing it. And then I'm just like, the song's about a school shooting. And everyone's like, oh.
Yeah, I've learned to keep that with an inside voice, like talking, like, or maybe like if there's somebody that's really kind of the cynical type that's sitting back and being too cool, you can usually kind of loosen them up by maybe making those quips to them as an aside.
Like that's something I would say to you, and you'd be like, "Oh, yeah, interesting," and like you would find it would like actually add to the mood. And I just kind of forgot that I was not around a group that would be like that.
Yeah, unless you know the group well, I find it's better. This is where like the whole making friends part stuff comes in. You want to keep it light and fun and not heavy and dour.
Right, because for me and you, I'd be like, oh, that's an interesting fact, Phil. And you'd be like, oh, wow, I didn't know that. And then it would add to the mood. But no, for most people, it's like, oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah, but like you and I can have fun having stupid conversations about philosophy. Right. Do you remember talking to your dad about whether it would be assault with a deadly weapon if somebody had a prosthetic arm and was beating somebody with it? And then your dad's like, no, that's just assault. And you're like, well, what if he like melted razor blades into the fake, the prosthetic hand? And he's like, then I don't know. Why are you asking me that?
Yes. What if you sharpened the prosthetic arm into something which...
Oh, yeah, the fingers.
You sharpened the fingernails into something that...
Only makes a claws.
Akin to a deadly weapon. Would it then be considered assault with a deadly weapon?
Yeah.
Just being ridiculous. Yeah.
Yeah. Like that's to me, that's fun, but you have to have the right person that's going to be like, what? Huh? And then they'll wake up and be like, no, yeah, actually this thing. Because like there's one guy I like, but he edges on being a bit too improv-y with people. He's definitely, when you find somebody like this, you can definitely guess a cold read. You were a drama kid, weren't you? Because a lot of time they are, and a lot of time drama kids are doing these things. They're like actors especially, because like drama kids can be like the behind the scenes ones, but the actors especially, often it's easier to put yourself out there as somebody that you're not. You're not actually putting yourself out there because you can't be rejected for putting on a face, right? If you're playing a role and somebody rejects that role, then it's not really rejecting you. It's rejecting a performance. And similar with improv, you're not like, it is a little bit like you can still be rejected to some degree, but it's like they're too much in the play. And so I had some people react at my last party to this guy being like, he told me he wanted to eat my hair. And I was like, I could see myself saying something stupid like that as a joke, as like something super outrageous and like playing off of it. But she thought he was serious. And I don't know how that happened because he's almost never serious. So I don't know. I kind of wish I would have been there for that interaction.
Right. I think it's like if you are doing this stuff in a way that's like playing a role and it can feel very gimmicky, it's a problem. It's not awesome. But if you're kind of genuine and normal, and then all of a sudden you have this unexpected quip, this witticism of sorts, then it just it's not like you're kind of always in this really strange improv mode.
Yeah, the strange improv mode is the issue, because you're not really connecting. You're not being serious. It's like how I tend towards too serious. And so if somebody says, "Are you ever serious?" that's a win for me, because then I can easily switch to a more serious mode, because that means I've overcorrected to a degree, and it's easy for me to switch back to the other way. Whereas this person, he might have a problem being serious. I don't know. I don't want to diagnose him. Right. I find he's a wild card. I kind of enjoy him for that reason. But yeah, I guess some people, he's not going to be for everybody. So then being a bore, being dull and uninteresting in a social context. Like your jokes don't land. You don't really try. You only talk about boring things. This, I think, is a problem if you're still buying into social scripts too much. You're just going by the default questions. You're not doing anything unexpected. That's boring.
Yeah. Right. Stick
in the muds are people that underperform, I guess it says in brackets. I don't remember why. Failing to participate actively or creatively in social activities. But then there's the related is the half-asser, somebody who puts in just the minimum effort.
Like me.
Yeah.
Showing up here.
Or then me, I've definitely done this in the past. I'm catching myself do a bunch of these things over time and trying to stop myself, like being judgmental or whatever, which would fall under the preference dictator, imposing your own preferences on others excessively, being like, no, you should be doing like this. This is the better way to do that. I tend to try to avoid that these days, unless it's something that like they're not getting good reactions from and you can see them deflated, and then you can broach the topic of like whether they would want feedback on that tactfully,
right?
Instead of just being like, no, do it this way,
lecturing them.
Yeah. There's only 5 more subtypes. So cheapskates, they are excessively frugal to the detriment of communal enjoyment. They won't show up, or they'll like nickel and dime everything as much as possible. I think I am currently edging on this just because I'm just so broke.
No. It's not sucky if it's at a necessity.
Yeah, arguably that would be the case. Yeah. Self-promoters, these are people I keep coming across. They're like social climbers / influencers. They are dominating conversations or activities.
You do. It's interesting.
Huh?
I don't see a lot of that, but I don't get out much. So.
You're in a small town, not talking to strangers. Yeah. I'm in Toronto, where a bunch of movers and shakers and they're trying to get in the film industry and shit.
Right.
You can feel them sizing you up, or feel them just taking, like they're doing something more for flash than for actually making a fun time.
Would they qualify as blowhards under his definition?
No, the definition, this is from ChatGPT. So I don't agree with self-promoter being dominating conversation. That's blowhards. I'd say self-promoters are people that are constantly pushing their own shit and not really taking any interest in anybody else. Blowhards are, talk excessively about themselves or their achievements. Braggarts boast too much. So blowhards, I've definitely been that. That's screw up a lot of dates I've been on, because I end up talking about ideas too much. That's why I've funneled that to this venue now, and I try to avoid it in person.
Yes.
Because you end up saying a lot of stuff that...
You get your fix with me.
Yeah. People find it interesting, but then you leave them with nothing to say, and it feels like they're just being lectured at, because they kind of are.
Wow, that was a very interesting lecture I had.
I have nothing to say, though.
Fascinating.
They will say something like that, yeah. And I have nothing to add. And
Fascinating.
It's like, yeah, that's the problem.
Done.
I screwed up. That's on me. Braggarts, and then thunder stealers. They'll take credit for other people, or they're like one-uppers, basically. Like you tell a story and like, oh, you think that's good? Well, listen to this. To be awesome, though, is a much narrower thing. And a lot of it is walking a line between too little and too much. You have to kind of find that sweet spot. So, for instance, being down, he has down and up, as you may have heard earlier, and you may be wondering how there's different takes on these. Down is to take up offerings, so being open and willing to engage in social opportunities, whereas being up, I think up, the distinction I ended up thinking, this doesn't say it in this definition here, but the difference I saw was being up meant like you are creating events, and being down means you'll take up invitations to those events. And you kind of want to do a bit of both, because if you're constantly making events and going to nobody else's, then it's kind of like you're only making it about yourself, or self-aggrandizing for your own purposes, while constantly only taking up, being down and going to other people's stuff and not creating any events yourself is kind of just like, it's good, it's not terrible, but you're kind of not contributing to the community. You're just along for the ride. And it's better if you have people that are stepping up and creating things to happen, right?
Yeah. And then he has the other category, being game. It's like being enthusiastically up.
Yeah, dogs are game, I think we talked about, right?
or enthusiastically down, I should say. It's like, if you're just like participating, you're like, I'm down. But if you're like really excited, you say, I'm game. Let's do it.
Yeah. Dogs are game for everything. Like dogs are bred to be game.
They're the definition of game. They're game animals.
Yeah. And then chill is being easygoing and accommodating in social settings. Like I said, that's the balanced form of cool. Too cool didn't come up for some reason. That's odd. Awesome in general is just creating opportunities for people to shine or enjoy themselves. To rock is excelling in making others feel included and important. To rule is leading by example, setting a positive tone for others to follow. So one is leading by example. The other one is empowering other people and making them feel like, if you see somebody standing off to the corner, I guess I do this fairly often. Having been the person that's awkwardly trying to break into an event, if I've already broken in, then I will invite people. I think I mentioned this in the social or making friends thing.
Broken in.
You see one person showing up and they're kind of looking lost and like, oh, where do I go? You'd be like, hey, over here. You just like call them over,
hey,
invite them in.
Get over here.
Yeah.
After you've broken in, you've like crowbarred the window and like snuck your way through.
Yeah, the window's open. Unlock the door from the inside. You can now come in. I found a way in. But those are all the definitions we've got on what it is to be awesome. Although I do have a bunch of like quotes and shit, but I don't know if any of them are worth it.
They're not worth it. Let me work it.
Put a thing down, flip it in reverse. And I do reference that a lot whenever anybody says it, but is it worth it? And then I'll immediately start ripping off of that.
Work. Yeah, a little Missy Elliott.
So here he talks about being awesome. It's not a wild night out or doing something bombastic. It doesn't need to be any of that, which this guy sees as commoditizing and co-opting the concept of awesomeness by marketers and capitalism, making it seem like to be awesome is like a one-time big night out where you have a lot of drinks and like it's just like a night to remember. That's being awesome by...
It doesn't have to be.
Yeah, by capitalist standards. Yeah. That's what they want us to be. It can be just hanging out in the park, basically. It can be anything that... Right. Like that's one of the few things you can do that's free.
Right. Awesomeness does not require fancy, epic grandeur. Yeah.
Instead, to put words in his mouth, it's about genuine self-expression and connection, thus the terms co-person and co-personhood. So somebody was quoted as saying, his name is Jeff Hammerbacher. Fake assery motivates so much of social media development, which is often aimed more at selling products than connecting people. The best minds of our generation are being put towards getting us to click ads. Banksy has a similar quote saying, "The thing I hate most about advertising is that it attracts all the bright and creative and ambitious young people, leaving us mainly with the slow and self-obsessed to become artists. Modern art is a disaster area. Never in the field of human history has so much been used to say so little by so many." That's Banksy's damning of these things. These are not my words.
He is awesome.
So on becoming awesome, he suggests we don't say, what can I do to be more awesome? But instead ask, what can I do to create more awesomeness? Because what can I do to be more awesome is about self-aggrandizement. It's about making yourself awesome, right, as opposed to what can I do to make the situation better for everyone involved is what he's basically saying.
Yes,
so
it's a offering value mentality rather than a taking mentality again.
Right. It's kind of being in state, being socially on, I think we talked about in the last episode, which is the dissolution of the ego and seeking a higher purpose. So you're giving, not taking, and inherently pro-social. But he also mentions that there's no recipe or formula for any of this because it has to be genuine, relating expression, which is a kind of one of the tenets somewhat of anarchy, the philosophy, not like what people use it traditionally as, right, which is that each person is a full person and is expressing themselves in the way that fully conforms to them. They have chosen these things to express themselves and not to emulate what they think is cool from somebody else. I think it's one thing to take something from somebody else you see as cool because you think it reflects you, and another thing to take something from somebody else because you think it's cool because it's what's socially regarded as cool, right?
Yep. Internal versus kind of an external focus. Yeah.
So Riggle has a quote here. This might be maybe the place to end. If your goal in developing yourself, living your life, running a business, leading people is to be number one, the richest, or the most powerful person, chances are you suck. Why? Because in focusing all your time, thought, and energy into being number one, you care too much about yourself alone to be awesome. To put it bluntly, you're probably an asshole.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's a good spot to end, isn't it? Yeah.
Basically, that's what I was thinking. So you want to basically, I guess, to flip it, to be more prescriptive, if you're living a life, developing a style, becoming the kind of person who aims to make people laugh, think, play, imagine, smile, care, or empathize, then you're probably attuned to the ethics of awesomeness. Boom.
What can I do right now to add to the energy, to add to the vibe?
Yes.
There's people in the room, they're bantering, they're talking, they're doing whatever they do. And you think to yourself, what can I do to add to the vibe right now? Not to make myself look good, not to be accepted, but there's a vibe happening and how can I elevate it for everyone?
Yeah. How can we expand the party and bring more people in to have fun?
Playfully elevate the vibe, not being a dancing monkey and like, hey, look at me. Like it's more like you make a funny witticism and quip and someone plays off it.
Right. And I think this might be why. So I'm throwing these large parties, right? And I'm like pruning out people who are not good fits or just like whack ass people by this reckoning. And I just threw a 50 person, like the capacity for this room is 50 people. And I had a wait list. I'm looking for a 100 person room just because the party just keeps expanding. And so maybe it's in this spirit that's happening. I'm not really sure. Mm-hmm. People are like, how do you make friends? It's like, I mean, I just put 2 episodes out on like kind of thinking broadly about those things, but I don't know. People have described me as very human, which I assume that's a compliment, but
human, all too human.
I think that's just what like being co-people, right? Like if you're being able to be co-people with other people, they will appreciate that because a lot of people don't want to expose their weakness, don't want to expose their struggles. They want to feel cool or above other people in some ways, possibly, or they're just afraid of being rejected. So I guess at this point, I don't care.
It all comes down to self-acceptance, really.
Yeah, ego dissolution. And recognizing that we're all just people. I've met, not quite celebrities, but I've met people on like panels and stuff right after they had like the panel. They're like a minor celebrity at that event. And other people are like kind of seemingly kissing their feet. And I'm kind of wondering why, because it's like they're just people. They're just other people that are just a little bit further ahead in their careers.
Exactly. Yeah, not putting yourself or other people on a pedestal. Putting yourself on a pedestal is narcissistic. It's a blowhard. It's all of the other categories of suckiness. Putting other people on a pedestal is what you're describing there. Also sucky. Nobody's on a pedestal. We're all equal. Accept yourself. Accept other people.
Yeah.
You're good. You're awesome.
That's it. Well, thanks for tuning in. Hope you guys enjoyed it.
Thank you.
Got good reviews on the last couple episodes. And if you do think it's good, please share it with your friends. Feel free to post it on social media and leave us a review on whatever you're listening to us currently on.
Because that would be awesome.
And with that, go out there and be awesome. I am ready for anything when it comes to you, but it's usually very predictable and in a narrow range of expectations.